What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Leveled Up Life podcast. It's Branamier Courtney here, as always, with Paul McLean.
Good to be here with you, brother.
Good to be here with you, man. Here to help you level up your life in all the areas that matter most: your faith, family, fitness, finance, and franchise. Listen, it's a big week. If you're listening to this live right now, it's Monday morning. The end of this week, Thursday, is our Leadership Blueprint event. We gotta get it in right away. Man, I'm excited about this event first because so many people are coming to this event really to be encouraged, to get inspiration, to get motivation. But more than any of that, they're coming to get blueprints on how to actually scale their business, strengthen their family, improve on their marriage. Like, dude, I just love that it's not just one singular focus, but all these people are coming in, and they're coming into a group of people who are just like them, looking to level up in every area of their life. And it's not just me and you. Like, we got some heavy hitters coming in. We got Joe Basso, we got Mike Kai, we got Danny Anderson, we got Jeff Osborne, we got Lisa Hamilton, we got Mariah, me, you. Like, it's a heavy lineup, bro. Yeah, it is. And so I'm fired up for every single person that's coming this Thursday. If you haven't got your ticket, get your ticket now. Do not wait, because we're limited. Yeah. We got so many spots available, and they're selling out. So get your tickets. But, man, I'm fired up for this week, dude. It's going to be a great week.
I am too, man. I mean, it's one of those weeks where I kind of just start preparing myself and building up a great expectation. And I've seen this too many times. I guess I've been exposed to it early on, and I continue to get reminded every time I go to another event that, man, my life has always shifted and changed at big events. Yep. A lot of times it's an insightful time where I'm like, wow, I didn't see it that way, and now I can see it that way. A lot of times it's me leaving it and just really believing more about myself. Yeah. Like, having, inspiration, but also, some practical steps to take. And I think that's the Blueprint series, right? Is like, okay, you're going to have some new thoughts, you're going to have some new perspectives, but also we've got some big people that we got together and our hearts was like, hey, how do we best serve you? Just like when we get on this podcast, and today's topic, guys, is going to serve you well as we unpack this proximity issue and really how you're closer than you think you are to your next level. But I just believe that, when we get together, our desire and heart is always like, how can we best serve people? Yeah. And in the end, we're also getting served well. I'm going to be sitting there in the front row, probably with Penelope. Yeah. Where she took like
58 pages.
Yeah, 58 pages last time. But really just leaning in and looking to get better, because I just know that I'm usually one thought away from my next breakthrough. I'm one relationship away from my next breakthrough. Yep. I'm one network away. And all that usually happens at a big event. And I just want to encourage you guys, if you've not yet got your ticket and there's something that might be holding you back and you're saying, well, I got to get this figured out, I got to get that figured out. And be clear, I've had those kind of reasons, because I've got 5 kids and I've gone to many events and it's like we don't have a babysitter, and it's hard to get a babysitter when you have 2 kids. It's extremely hard when you got 5. Yeah. Okay? So, but
they watch themselves.
But I'll tell you that, yes. Well, I'll tell you this, that the moment I've always made a decision to do something, the resources just show up. Yeah. And so I think a lot of times in life, and this is a topic in its own self, but we kind of wait for things to show up to move, or once this circumstance happens, or once this situation happens, or once this condition gets lifted, then I'll go ahead and do it. And that's not the way it works. Once you make a commitment and you say, I'm going to do this, then the resources and the things that you need to have it happen show up.
Yeah, you figure out a way.
Exactly.
100%.
But if you don't, then you figure out a way not to do that thing. You're always figuring a way to validate and support whatever decision you make. So the first step is, am I making the right decision? And when you get to that event, I just believe there'll be a lot of people that leave and they make decisions, and they not just make a decision, but they make a really strong commitment to stick to it. And that's where transformation happens. That's where life change happens. And so I'm excited.
Well, I just think exposure is so important, because like you don't realize what else is out there until you go see what else is out there, right? I remember, I think it was maybe 2018, 2019, me and you and Ryan Tosh, we flew out to North Carolina. Yeah. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And man, we were just dreaming about the church. We were like passionate about ministry, but like, hey man, what could the church look like? We had a partial vision of what it could be here in the high desert. And so we flew our family across the country, went to Elevation, spent 3 days there, got to go behind the scenes, sat in senior pastor meetings, hoping not to get called on, because we definitely were not senior pastors. But we just wanted to get around the heat, right? And what happens when we were there, man, we got a bigger vision there than we had before we went, because we had a certain vision of what it could be. And then you go step into a place like that, you go, wow, this is actually what's possible, right? Yeah. And so it's getting into the right rooms and then coming back and go, okay, now we got a benchmark. Now we got something to shoot for. Now we've seen what's possible. And the truth is, when you get in these rooms, you go, I have all the same, I got the same spirit as these guys. I got the same drive as these guys. They got their own unique personalities and giftings, but man, if they could do it, I could do it. And so every time I go to an event, man, I leave encouraged, blessed, more strategy, more vision. And it's so cool to look back. I was even thinking about that time we were in North Carolina. There were so many people in that room that we didn't know at the time, but looking back, like all these big pastors that you know of now were in that room.
Yeah.
But they weren't big pastors then. They were just like us. Yeah. They were just trying to figure it out, just trying to get vision. But it's like, man, looking back, it's like, wow, all these people were in that same room that we were, and now look at their ministries. And the same could be true for these Blueprint events or any event that you go to. It's like, man, you never know who's going to be in the room. Like you said, it could be one conversation, it could be one thought, it could be one prayer, it could be one just idea that you get. And then looking back 2, 3, 4 years from now, man, you're in a whole different place spiritually, financially, emotionally, relationally. And man, I just think people got to get out of their comfort zones, because you can't grow beyond the rooms you're unwilling to step into. Like if you're not willing to go, like you're just not going to grow. Yeah. Right. And so you got to step out of the boat, right? You got to get a little uncomfortable, and you got to step into places that maybe makes you a little uncomfortable, but deep down on the inside, it's gonna stretch you, it's gonna grow you. And so that's why I'm fired up just about the event we're doing here in the high desert, because the truth is, like, man, we don't have a lot of them. Like there's not just leadership events happening all the time here. And I think God's definitely graced us with an ability to reach not only people here in the high desert, but the people in our world, and provide them just a different outlook on what's possible for them. So
yeah, I love that, man. I think for one, this is applicable to all different kinds of things, right? It's really, like you said, I love this, and I love this quote. It's actually hanging up over here. It says, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone." And
you said life is like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, well, that's a quote too. In fact, we just were at Bubba Gump's this last weekend. But it's a truth though. A lot of times we get confused thinking that, like, can we just find a state of comfortability, or once we get here we'll be comfortable? And it's almost like this disguised motivation to find comfortability. Yeah. And it's one of those paradoxical things, because what you think isn't. Like, you don't actually do well with comfortability. God didn't design you and create you to just live in a state of comfortability. Contentment, yes, be happy and grateful for where you're at, and being ambitiously, having this desire to get to where you want to go. And so I think that, this is one of those things where you said it right, Brian, like typically the thing that we most need to do is the thing that we most feel like not doing. Yeah. And that's the case for everything. Everybody on here could probably relate to the fact that there's times and moments where you're like, I just don't want to go to the gym. And typically you don't want to go to the gym when you just had a long weekend of eating out, maybe you're on vacation, you just had a box of chocolates or whatever, and you're like, I don't want to go to the gym. Man, dude, that's when you need to go to the gym. Like, your diabetes is getting ready to finally like settle in, and you're going to be diagnosed with it. Yeah. And so like that's when you need to go. And I think it's like that with anything. If you kind of feel like, man, not this one, not yet. And that could be with anything. I just feel like you need to run towards that. Yeah, you don't need to buy into that. Feelings are fleeting, and so if we're called to step in and out into faith, well, what does faith look like? It looks like you walking into uncomfortable situations, uncomfortable environments. It looks like you walking on water, which doesn't seem like a very comfortable thing to do if you've not yet done it. And so maybe you've not ever been to an event, and you're like, I don't even know like what you're talking about. I've not experienced it. Well, you go there, and all of a sudden you'll know. Like, you'll know, like, hey, this was so much more than I thought it was going to be. And so, what call can you have? What conversation can you have? And I want to also take this into the pathway of whatever you're hyper focused on, right? Because I'm not confused that the audience wears multiple hats. We have some that are in business. We have some that are, a single, mom. We have some that are, a house spouse. Everybody's got different, kind of roles and goals.
Is that the new stay-at-home mom, house spouse?
Well,
I like that, bro.
I don't know how that.
Dude, you should coin that, dude. That's good. See how Tosh feels about that. Yeah, house spouse.
The house spouse. Well, that way, if you're a guy, you can still be a house spouse.
Hey, all the house spouses out there,
all the guys, all the fellas, you're now a house spouse. We don't want to call you a house husband. You're a house spouse.
Come on,
it even rhymes good. But I think that for anybody on here, you're probably one exposure, like you said, Bran. Yeah. To something that's going to help you take that to the next level. So if you're sitting here and you're feeling like, man, I feel like I wish my kids were better. I feel like I had more structure. I feel like they were more obedient. I feel like I had a better relationship with my spouse. I feel like I had whatever that is. Well, the question is, what can you step into that's going to help give you a new perspective, that's going to help give you some new insight, that's going to help you uncover blind spots to actually get into a place where you can change something.
Yeah.
Because I just think that, man, a lot of times, Brand, like, I feel like people live like a quiet life of desperation.
Yeah, very good.
And you just kind of live at this level 5 and 6 life. And oftentimes you're more likely willing to step into a course, a program, a podcast, something that you now start consuming things that are going to help you move the needle in that area only when things get really bad.
Yep.
I was talking to one of the guys in there yesterday. I said, dude, sometimes those one moments have to happen, even though it's like, why God did this happen, is because God doesn't want you living at a level 5 life. He wants you a life more abundant. And you can't experience a 10 life unless you get to one moments typically. Because one moments make you uncover the things that kept you out of 5 and 6. So now you could do something about it, right? And so I just think that, for everybody on here, one of the questions is like, what can you plug into? Have you looked up whatever you're trying to be excellent at, whatever you're trying to take to the next level? Have you found a room, a connection, a course, a class that you can get plugged into? Yeah. If it's fitness, right? You're like, man, I just been wanting to work out for a long time and I haven't done it. Well, have you looked into a course, a curriculum, a program, a trainer, somebody that can help you get into it? Like for me, I realized that early on that if I wanted to think different, I had to get around different thinking people, which is why I love this podcast, because we get some time together where I get exposed to your thought process, and it always positively impacts me every single time. And so I would get into these President's Club. I don't know if you remember this back in the insurance business. It was like night owls and stuff like that. And
like you get to stay late.
Yeah. And dude, the truth is like, and I went to a season where it was like, was that necessary? But dude, it kind of was.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost even like the drive back from Baker. So we made that long drive from Monterey, and Tosh was like, to her, she was like, this is the most terrible thing ever. She's like, we got to wake up at 1 a.m. so we can get back and like actually when we normally wake up. And I was like, that's fun for you, but I'm the one driving. You're sleeping. But like it didn't bother me because the whole time I'm doing something productive, right? And I realized that all those drives I made to Bakersfield, when most people are like, dude, that's crazy. Like, why would you drive 3 hours there and back? Like, that's nuts. Like, just to build your business, like, that's a lot. But, dude, I became a different person on those drives because of my consumption.
Yeah.
Like, I was listening to audios nonstop. I was doing things that were building myself up, and it was a part of my personal growth regimen. And I just think that, like, you got to always ask yourself, what can I do to get a little bit better?
That's good.
And that could be a course, a curriculum. For me, I went to Dave Anderson classes. I still do. John Maxwell. I've been to tons of those. But invest in yourself, because that's the best investment. And that's an investment that will always produce fruit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. To me, it's like growth doesn't just happen on its own, right? The only thing that grows by itself is weeds and fat, right? Yeah. It's like, no, if you want to grow stronger, better, healthier, like you got to be intentional about it. And I love that you took the excuses out. It's like, okay, well, I can't go to the event because I don't have X amount of dollars. Okay, we hear you, or it's 2 hours away. I got you. But what about on your drive to work, right? What do you do in the afternoons? What do you do when you get home from 5 to 9? Like, what are you intentionally doing to strengthen your mind, your heart, your health, your family, your marriage, your business? Like, there's things that you could be doing. And I just think that, man, if you want to grow, you got to get in proximity to things that are growing, right? So whether it's a podcast, like you said, whether it's a course, or whether it's a conference, like you got to get in the right space. I just think like there's an example in the Bible. There's this woman who has been, Bible says she's been bleeding for like 12 years, right? And she can't get the blood to stop for 12 years. She's went and seen doctors, and she's sought counsel. And the Bible says she spent all her money, but she hears that like Jesus is coming through town, and she hears like, man, he's doing all these miracles and signs and wonders, and he's healing all these people. And it says that she has faith that, man, if I could just get in proximity to Jesus, right? Not if I have a conversation with him, not if he, lays his hands on me, not if he like prays over me, man, if I could just touch the hem of his garment, like if I could just get close to him, I know I can be healed. And the Bible says Jesus is coming through town, a large crowd. She fights her way through the crowd, and she touches the hem of his garment. And it says that power leaves Jesus, and she's healed in an instant. And man, I just think if people have that mindset that, man, if I could just get around Jesus would be good. But if I could just get around the right people, if I could just get in the right environment, if I could just get around the right couples that I want my marriage to look like, if I could just get in the right office that I want my business to look like, if I could just get in the right church that I want my faith to look like, then I know I can go to the next level. And I just think you have to be intentional about it, because she could have been like, well, it's been 12 years. Like, yeah, I heard he's a healer, but like there's crowds there. I'm just going to, if it happens, it happens. Like if I get healed, I get healed. If not, I guess it's God's will.
Yeah. How many excuses were justified that she could have?
Unlimited, right? There's too many crowds. I don't have the resource to get there. I'm out of money now. I'm just a girl. It's been this long. Like, she could have went on and on and on, and we could do the same thing about anything, right? But the truth is, if you want to grow, you have to be intentional about proximity. So you got to get into the right rooms, because you will not grow past your level of surroundings. It's we went to Monterey this last week, and my eyes were open to we golf on nice golf courses, but then you go up there and you're like, dude, levels, man. We golf in the dirt. Right. This is terrible. You're walking the grounds of Pebble Beach, and you're like, dude, this is golf heaven, right? And it just exposes your mind and your eyes to a whole new way of thinking. And I think the same is true for every area of your life. Like, you gotta be intentional about seeking the right rooms, the right people, the right things to help build your life. And so that's kind of the first side is, man, you got to pursue proximity, and you got to be intentional about it.
Hey, one thing I want to add to the story with the woman with the issue of blood that I was thinking of as you were saying that, because I think that's so powerful. She wasn't willing to just let her circumstances and her experience up until that point hold her back from doing the next best move.
Yeah.
You've got a next best move, and maybe this is the next best move. And maybe your life isn't completely changed at the event, but maybe it is.
Yeah.
It's your next best move. But the thing I loved is that, when Jesus felt that power go out, he had her come back. Like, he stopped, and he was on his way to heal Jairus' daughter, like this super powerful leader in this time. And he decides to stop, and it doesn't say how long he stopped for, to go through and find this woman. And it's like, well, why? She was already healed. And then he goes and says, your faith has made you well.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that he was reminding her that that her faith had healed her. It's what he called her. He called her daughter.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at the commentary on this, and it's the only time recorded in the Bible where Jesus actually calls somebody daughter. And the reason why that was so important is because she had developed this identity all those 12 years of being this woman with the issue of blood. In fact, that's what the Bible calls her. It doesn't say Betty. It says the woman with the issue of blood. That was the name that she had taken on. She had taken on the name of her experience. And I feel like when you can get into rooms where people can start to call out something different in you and start to call out what God put into you, because so often we're in circles and proximity of just what we're always used to. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but it's not the best thing. And I've been in environments where, like, we got a chance to meet Jeff, and then Jeff will call something out in you, man. Like, he'll connect you with somebody, and they'll see something. Why? Because these are people that are looking for the best in you.
Yeah,
these are people like Jesus was looking for the best in her. Like, you're not the woman with the issue of blood, you're my daughter. And that changed everything for her. So it wasn't like she just got physically healed. In that moment, she was mentally and emotionally healed as well. And so I just think that when you get in those environments, I thought about like some of the bigger relationships that I've got, like a Joe Basso. I met him at an event. That's where I met him, was at a convention, right? Yeah. I think about Jeff Osborne. I met him at the church. You met him at an event. Yep. And he's been instrumental with like just connecting people that can bring out the best in us. Yeah. Where I get off a conversation, I'm like, man, that was health to me. For sure. It was a fruitful conversation. Mike Kai, he was connected through that way. Think about, Mariah. Like, that was through the environment at the office. That's where you guys got connected. Yep. It wasn't, you were at the office, she was at the office, and you guys get connected. This is where life happens. This is where your next level happens, is putting yourself in different events, in 100%. Different situations. And, I was thinking about this when you said Monterey. Like, I remember going to Lake Arrowhead with the kids probably like 4 years ago, and we were looking over the edge, and dude, there was like huge goldfish, Like, I mean, I'm talking like massive, bro. Like, so the kids are like, they know what a goldfish looks like to them. And so they're like, what kind of fish is that? I'm like, it's a goldfish. And Penelope's like, that's not a goldfish, Dad. You know, it gives me a lot of, like, as if she knows better. And I'm like, no, it is. And so I was explaining like how it grows to the environment.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's that larger you in every single one of us, right? Where you want to get to a position where you've changed your environment, and these environments, the people, the relationships, it brings out such a higher level you that other people don't recognize you because you've grown so big.
Very good.
You've grown so much. And I think it doesn't happen by default. That goldfish was that big because that goldfish landed it in a massive lake, not in my fish tank.
Yeah.
And that it grew to it. It always had it in it. It wasn't like that fish tank, that goldfish was just built to be that small, and this one was built to be that big. They're both built with the same greatness in them. It's just what environment are they placed in.
100%.
You know?
No, I love that. I mean, it's exactly what you're saying. Like, that girl was always a daughter, but circumstances were just telling her otherwise. Like that goldfish was always that size, or meant to be that size. It's based on the environment that it's in. The same is true for you and I. Like, man, life has a way of tearing us down and reminding us of all the bad things we've done or the mistakes that we've made. Or sometimes we could even see all the things in ourselves because we live with ourselves and we know our thoughts, right? And if you're not around the right environment, if you're not around the right people that can call the daughter out of you, or call the bigness out of you, or call the greatness out of you, man, you start to believe the lie that's not true. And if you listen to a lie for so long, it begins to sound like the truth.
Yeah.
And so the reason so many people are, in my opinion, uncomfortable stepping into these growth environments is because they're not used to hearing the greatness called out in them. And so it makes them go like, almost in a way like, man, I'm living under my potential. And so the enemy wants to bring like condemnation or shame or guilt. Like, man, I should be these guys. I should be further ahead. I'm 37 now. I should be doing that. But the truth is, like, that's coming from it's not a God thought, right? He wants to remind you that, hey, greatness is still in you. And so if you're in a place where like, yeah, I should be further along, I don't want to go to things like that. I just am what I am. Don't believe that lie.
Yeah. Like
don't believe that your best days are behind you. Like there's so much greater ahead for people than there is. I don't care how old you are. Like if you still have breath in your lungs, like God can still do something. And it gets called out in environments like this. And the last thing I'll say is don't make it just a one-time thing. Right? Don't make it just a moment of motivation. Because I see so many people, especially in the church world, man, like when they're at their lowest, they'll come, right? Mm-hmm. And that's great. Like, continue to do that. That's the right thing to do. But then when life gets a little bit better, all of a sudden they're back to their old routine again. And it's like, hey, listen, don't make it just a one-time thing to get in the right rooms or to get around the right people or to start the right habits or to, like, don't make it just a January thing. Oh, New Year's is here, now I'm going to eat healthy. Listen, if you want it to last, if you want fruit, if you want legacy, you got to make getting in proximity to the right things a part of your everyday rhythm. You got to stay long enough to grow roots. You got to stay long enough to be shaped and to be formed into the person, business owner, mom, dad, husband that you were actually designed to be. Like, the disciples didn't become the disciples in a day.
Yeah.
Like you weren't leading, 8-figure companies on day one. Like, it's been a 25-year journey, right? And that's weird to say. How long has it been?
Well, it's not been 25 years, but
well, you always say 18 years you sold the company?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm 37, so I'd be 12. I was an entrepreneur at 12 though.
There you go.
Yeah.
You were selling different things. So I was right.
My practice company.
Yeah.
I built all the skills.
Everyone's got a practice company.
Everybody's got a pass.
But like you got to stay long enough to actually grow roots, so then you could see the fruit. And so I would just encourage people that are coming, like, hey, continue to come, but don't just come for a day. Like, stay in alignment with the right people, with the right environment, so you can actually get everything out of, it's like us and Jeff. It wasn't just a one-time thing. Man, we were in alignment with him. And so now we're seeing fruit of that relationship. Like, man, get in alignment with us. Get in alignment with the people that are going to be there and make it sticky. Like, don't just, I love the event that I went to. It was like, hey, this isn't a networking event, but there's a couple people in the room that you should be friends with. You know, it's hey, there's a couple people in the room at the Blueprint event that you should be friends with. Not everyone. Like, we're not going to be your best friends necessarily, but there's a couple people in there that you should do business with, that you should be friends with, that you should go out to dinner with. But you got to be intentional about seeking it out. So I just encourage everyone who's...
Hey, you want to know something crazy, dude?
Go.
That's kind of like to that point. So Ray and Todd, right? Ray was working with a different company.
Yep.
Todd was working with a different company. Todd comes on board once a company launches. He forms a relationship with Ray at that leadership event, the last one we had, right? Ray leaves, I think it was Northwestern or something like that, joins over here, and he's absolutely crushing it.
Yeah.
And now he's in the office, you know, obviously we're hyper-focused on growth and development and connectionship and relationship. And so, like, they met at that last event. And they showed me a picture. I went up and I was talking to Todd. It's the first time I met Todd.
That's crazy.
Was at that last event. I had not met Todd since then, or before then. And they were chopping it up, and I just remember them talking. I didn't know what they were talking about, but it was their career, insurance, what they were doing. And so, I mean, it is absolutely the case. You know, that's where, you know, big stuff happens. I would say this. So if you're going to the event, and this is for you if you're not going to this event, I mean, because like you might be watching this in Texas, and you know, like, I just don't want to fly out there. Like, okay, I got it. But whatever event you're going to, and I would just say like anything, like if it's a Sunday service, if it's a podcast you're listening to, whatever time you've got spent and allotted to like grow and develop, come with an expectation that it's going to change your life. Now, is it going to every time? No, but the right expectation every time is to believe that it will, and it could. And so I would just come with expectation. Every time I go on Sunday, I expect that God's going to give me a word, that he's going to speak a word through you. It's going to change my life. I go there expecting. I go there not just saying I expected, but my expectation is reflected in my action by having an iPad up, and I'm taking notes, and I'm making notes, and I'm thinking while you're preaching. And I'm saying, how does this apply? How can I use this in my life? What is God wanting me to hear in this? And that's where the true change is. It might be a message that can change your life, but you don't have your life changed. And the reason why is you didn't expect for it to be the message that would change your life. And so I would just go in with the right expectation. I'd also go in with some questions. Like, be clear, I'm going to have some questions with the other speakers, that as we're having the lunch, we've got a breakfast set up with different people that are going to the event. I'm going to be very intentional before I get there with a list of questions. And I'm going to have too many questions. I don't want to ever be in front of somebody that has great value to bring my life and run out of questions. And so I'm going to have a lot of questions that I'm going to think about prior. And even if I don't get them all answered, I'm now priming myself to have the right expectation to get the most from what I do get, because I'm stepping in with a student mindset, because students come with questions for the teacher. And so have questions written down, take notes, make notes, and really make sure that you're set up to let this do what it could do, which is absolutely change your life. And
very good. I love it, bro. Where can they sign up? Do we have the link?
The link will be, we'll put it down in the description for the YouTube. You could also find it on our Instagram, which I know that pops up at the beginning of the podcast. I think it's in my bio. It's probably in your bio. And so if you haven't signed up, this is your nudge. If like, should I go? Yes, you should.
You don't got to pray about it.
Yeah, this is one of those things where you go.
It's true.
And it'll make a massive difference. Yeah, pray about something. Pray about what God's got for you there, but just make sure you get there. So, guys, we love you. We appreciate you.
Love you guys.
Make it a big week. Stay strong. Be steadfast. And we'll see you soon. God bless you.